All right, it's noon on the dot. Good Wednesday afternoon, everyone. I'm Fox 19 First Alert Meteorologist Brad Maushart here in the 19 First Alert Streaming Center, and I'm happy I'm inside. It's hot out there. You've probably seen, if you've been out and about, or more so felt, I guess. Maybe you see a little bit of the haze here behind me. Either way, it's a hot day. It's going to feel like summer, a little taste of summer if you're getting ready to head out the door. It feels right now like the mid-80s outside, and it is just now noon. We have several hours of heating to go before we hit the afternoon hour. High temperature today is forecasted to be 87 degrees. That would be our warmest temperature of the year so far, topping only what we saw outside yesterday, which was 86. I told you in the noon show, I'm like, I think maybe the lows or the high temperature might be just a little bit too low. It was. We had 83. We hit 86. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes temperatures are a funny thing here in the Ohio Valley. 25 is our weather number today. Let's fast forward to the weather number of the day. And that is the number of 90-degree plus days we see per year on average. That's the 150 some odd year, I think 153-year average here. So all the records going back to the 1800s, we average about 25 90-degree plus days per year. Now, last year we had 37 of them. It was a hot year last year. A lot of heat out there. We haven't had any yet so far this year. We typically don't see them. A 90-degree day until June the 9th, so we still have a little bit of time. It's the 4th today. 9th is on Monday, so Monday next week would be our average first day. I'll tell you right now, we have no 90s in the forecast. We'll get close to it today. It'll certainly feel like 90 degrees by this afternoon with all the humidity out there, but just look at the haze downtown. Nasty day outside. If you can stay inside, avoid the heat, it'd be good. And if you like the summer-like heat and humidity, get out there, enjoy it. Some of the wildfire haze also making it down to the surface. The particulate matter in the atmosphere just a little bit higher than normal, so that might be why your allergies might be kicking in. Sinuses might get a little sniffly. So you're going to be out and about. Just stay cool, stay hydrated. It really will be like a mid-July, late July day out there with all the heat and humidity. Temperature right now already up to 81 at the airport. Again, we'll have no problem today getting back in the upper 80s. That south wind will help to continue to push that warmer air our way. At least, while it's pushing the warmer air in, it'll help to cut through some of the heat and humidity, so that's nice. Because humidity levels, it looks like 58%. You're saying that doesn't seem too hot, but, it will make it feel like the 90s by this afternoon. The dew point trend, it was bone dry this past weekend. I told you enjoy it because I'm not sure we're going to see many more like that as we work our way into June, late June, July. Especially into August, once all the crops get a little bit bigger, we have a lot of what we call, the fancy word evapotranspiration. You might call it the corn sweats. That's what's going to be happening outside, through the rest of this summer. So, not going to have many dry spells again until we hit fall, more than likely. So, muggy right now, on our way to almost very humid for Thursday and Friday, and that will help to fuel our rain chances. They do return tomorrow. So with all that said, it is going to be a hot day. It's going to be a humid day, a little breezy day. As you can see, we'll see some gusts over 30 miles an hour. If you have something to get outside, today is your day to do it, because as we work way through the next couple of days, there are a lot of rain chances here in the forecast. Not just that, a chance for some strong storms a few of these days. Talk about that coming up in just a bit, but it will not be very dry from here on out. Temperature, 84 already at Lunken, 82 at Hamilton, 82 in Middletown. Most areas here across the Ohio Valley, the warm-up is on, but the rain is not too far away. Clouds will thicken by later on tonight. You'll start to see some high, thin clouds here trickle in soon. You can already see a few of these little popcorn clouds bubbling up here across the Ohio Valley. Just northeast of downtown, they're a little bit more prevalent, but here downtown, you'll start to see these little fair weather clouds trickle in. Then you'll see some high, thin clouds, and then the clouds will get a little bit thicker yet as this next storm system starts to roll in from the west. It is a slow mover. It has been slowly trudging its way eastward out of the plains all week long. That's as close as it's gotten. So with a slow-moving system and an abundance of moisture like we're going to have, flooding could be a concern in a few spots. Some areas could see more than an inch of rainfall in the two-day period here before we wrap things up into the weekend, so just be prepared for that. Having a look closer to downtown, again, a few popcorn clouds out there. That's just about it. If you're heading down to the ballpark, wear the sunscreen and the shorts. It'll be a hot one. First pitch already at 83 degrees. That'll be here very shortly, about 40 minutes from now. Seventh inning stretch, 85, and close to that daytime high of 87 by the time the game wraps up today. A hot one for the Reds, and hopefully they take game number 3 here. Milwaukee's had our number, it seems like, for the last couple of years. We could use this win, take the series from them. We need it. We'll get back closer to 500. It's 87 today. The high temperature over in Harrison. I do think downtown we're going to be close to that Lunken temperature of 87 degrees. It'll feel like the 90s. Just stay cool. We have no comparable temperatures of that the rest of the forecast. The rain chances we're going to see arriving tomorrow are going to squash our warm-up, and then we're more seasonable from here on out. Our normal temperature, once we start to hit this week, is 80 degrees, 81 by the end of the week. On our way, by late June, July, normal temperature should be about 86. That is the hottest normal temperature we see here in Cincinnati, is 86 degrees. Sometimes we get a little warmer than that, sure, but that's our normal kind of peak heat here for the summer months. We're getting there. And it will certainly be above that today at 87. 80 degrees tomorrow, on and off showers and storms through the day, where you see some heavy rain at times. Temperatures could, fluctuate, but generally by the afternoon with a break in the clouds here and there, should be around 80 degrees. There's that thin cloud cover I was telling you about that will increase late tonight. Clouds thicken, and then rain and storm chances arrive as early as tomorrow morning, especially around and northwest of downtown. That's where the areas will see rain first, though. Even over towards Highland County, Adams County, you can see by 7 o'clock there will still be some showers there. But generally the heaviest rain should be there just off to our west. We're going to wait towards late morning. Those rain showers and thunderstorms become a little bit more widespread, and we do have a marginal risk now. That's new, a marginal risk. It's a 1 out of 5 for severe weather tomorrow. The threat is going to be primarily for damaging wind. Any of these storms, if they become severe through the day, we could certainly see some strong wind gusts out of that, over 60 miles per hour, some small hail, not out of the question either. But then again, keep your eyes on the flash flooding. Not a washout either. We'll catch some breaks through the day. It's going to be on and off, but more on than off, especially late Thursday into early Friday again. Friday, some breaks, and then, that rain and storm activity picks up again Friday night into early Saturday. Most of that rainfall does dry out early Saturday morning. There will be some lingering downpours for your Saturday, so not a completely dry weekend this go-around, but there will be some dry time. So if you have plans, even Friday night, you don't have to cancel anything because we will see some breaks in this rain. It's not going to be continuous the whole way through. But just be cautious with the plans because there will be quite a bit of rainfall pushing on through. There's Saturday, again in the morning hours, early morning hours, you're still sleeping. Maybe some of you are just getting home. If you're out there early 2 o'clock in the morning, their storms will still be out there. We'll hang on to a few lingering downpours into even in some spots the early afternoon. But again, that's mostly south of town. Most of us are drying out into Saturday. We'll stay mostly dry Sunday outside of a slim chance for a shower or thunderstorm late Sunday night. And then another wave of storms rolls through on Monday. Behind that, we clear out into Tuesday and Wednesday next week. And like I said, temperatures, due to all these rain chances, are not going to have much of a chance to rebound, similar to anything we're seeing outside today. In the rainfall department, take this with a grain of salt. This is not, this is not 100%. Just gives you an idea of kind of the range of values to expect here across the area. Some areas are going to pick up, a quarter inch of rainfall. That's totally expected. Some people might dodge, if you're lucky, most of those downpours. However, most of us, it's going to be around the half-inch to 1 inch mark. Some areas could certainly see more. That big red splotch there, you do not want to be in the big red splotch, it turns out. Those areas could see significantly higher rainfall totals over the next 72 hours or so until we dry out Saturday morning. So be prepared for that. A soggy stretch ahead and then a much cooler stretch ahead. We're at 87 today. Temperature is much more seasonal. Again, normal this time of the year is now 80 degrees. We're very close to that. We have several of them, either 78, 79, 80. So not a lot of fluctuation in the temperature department from here on out. Just a fairly mild but steady stretch here temperature-wise moving forward after today. Breezy, hot, humid. At least we have the breeze to help us out a little bit. Clouds increase late, but the rain chances hold off until the morning hours tomorrow. The next red series after today picks up into Friday. And it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series with the Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll keep our eyes on the Friday evening threat in particular. Slim chance that some of those storms could be on the strong side. It is a fireworks Friday, I assume, just being a Friday night game. So with that said, don't cancel the plans, because as you saw as we looked at that high-res model earlier, showing some of the rain showers pushing through, there will be some dry time. I'll hop back to that. We'll see what we got for even just Thursday night. We're not close enough for Friday night yet, but you can see by Thursday afternoon, there will be gaps in this rainfall as it pushes on through. Heavy at times, thunderstorms at times. This is, Thursday night, but there will be breaks in these storms, so don't cancel any plans. Just note that there will be a good amount of rainfall out and about for that. Let me hop back down because of course I have the wrong 7-day in here. Let me get to the one that actually includes this afternoon. And I'll check for some comments, complaints, suggestions. I know that just having been as warm as, it is today, that somebody's going to complain about how hot it is. So let's just see what we got going on. That's the 7-day. Again, pretty steady temperature-wise. If you're looking for our next dry stretch, it looks like it'll start by about Tuesday, Wednesday next week. That'll allow temperatures to start to climb again a little bit. But up until then, pretty steady. How bad do you think? Let's see. When Friday storms will be. Okay, let's hop up here. Give me a second. Let's see. Is this Friday? I think it is. Give this a second to load. Make sure that shows up right. Okay, so Thursday, before that, let's just go back to Thursday real quick. Give me a second to load this in. Pow. All right. Thursday and Friday, we do have a severe weather threat. The threat is going to be relatively minimal. It's not a tornadic threat per se. It's not to say you can't see a spin up with some of these storms. The primary threat with these will be damaging wind and some small hail. Thursday and Friday both. And of course, keeping our eyes on flash flooding and just localized flooding in some areas. So Thursday, it's a marginal risk. That's a 1 out of 5 low-end threat. Friday, we ramp things up a bit, especially south and southwest of downtown. That is where a slight risk, there it is going to be in place anywhere from Switzerland County through Carroll County all the way over here towards Owen, Grant, Pendleton, Bracken, Mason, Robinson counties into northern Kentucky. And then that threat extends further south. I'll even zoom out and show it to you. It is a big, slight risk that stretches all the way back into New Mexico and Colorado. We are just a little piece of that. And again, it's just our southernmost communities. Either way, damaging winds still the primary threat with that. I'm still thinking, we're not going to see many severe storms. We might have 1 or 2 out there. But those storms will be capable of producing those damaging wind, events. So being event season here in Cincinnati, it's nice outside. Well, it has been nice. The rain's pushing in. Just be cautious. You don't have to cancel the plans, but definitely don't want to take shelter if a severe storm's coming through under a big tent. Have a plan if you need to, if you're going to be out and about, just to be able to get inside if something like that does roll through. That, again, will be a very isolated event. Even in a normal thunderstorm, you don't want to be under a tent. Just because of the lightning threat, that is not a great place to be. So if you have any events going on this weekend, what is it this weekend? I think it's Schwabenfest this weekend up at the Donna Schwaben Society up there on the north side of town. So the German Fests are in full force. We have Fringe Fest going on downtown, but that's more of an inside thing, inside the theaters and everything downtown for those theater events. So that's not a big deal outside of walking to places. Yeah, no problem, Jennifer. So rain, it'll help to cool us off. Obviously, you don't want to see the strong storm threat, but that's something we'll keep an eye on as we work our way through the end of this week here. Let's see, what else do we got? Nothing else going on. Hot weather, hate the rain, can't wait. You had a nice stretch there, Betty. Hopefully you got to get at least some of the yard work done here. You got one more day today if you're trying to get out there and enjoy it. It will be warm. Now, if you like the heat, not a bad day. If you're dreading this behind me, which like I said, just kind of looks like summer when you look at it. At least we have that breeze. I know it's kind of hard to see, but you can see these, the trees blowing around there. Some of that, and half that's because it's sitting next to the interstate, but the other half is, some of the wind gusts we'll see today over 25 miles per hour. So I don't have any more questions off the top of my head. Let's see, got a hello everybody. Strong storms next week. Okay, so that is one more thing to talk about into next week. So jumping back to the weather model first, I'll show you this. So next week, here comes Monday. It will be a system we'll have to keep an eye on. Right now, it's far too early to see any details with this. I'm trying to stop it at a good spot to make it look worse. There you go. So with this, there is another rain chance and a storm chance Monday. Right now, it's not going to be, I don't think, as widespread as what we're going to see outside tomorrow and Friday. But there will be a good amount of rain and storm activity. And some of the storms with the fuel that will be there have the potential to be on the strong side. So we do have a scattered storm threat Monday, some of which could be strong. Too early for details, but that's something we'll keep an eye on into Monday and early Tuesday next week before we dry back out. Let's go back to the 7-day Again, be cautious with that Reds game Friday night and any other weekend plans you have, because we will see at least a few downpours early Saturday. Ground will be a little soggy if you have one of those festivals that's going to be out on, the open grass and whatnot. Sunday looks like the best day in the near term. There will be a slim chance for some showers a little closer to sunset Sunday or in the evening hours. And then Monday is the next chance for a few strong storms. So 3 days with a storm threat, some of which could be on the strong side. It doesn't look to be anything widespread, nothing like an outbreak or anything, but something just to keep an eye on. It's that time of the year. We start getting towards June and July. Our severe weather threats become a little bit less spring-like, I guess you want to say, where you have like the big severe weather days here. But certainly a scattering of severe storms will wreck and ruin a festival pretty quick. So definitely something we take seriously. And you should take seriously if you're going to be out and about. Don't cancel plans. Just be cautious, as always. Let's see. Good question there, Colton, for next week. So, yes, Monday does have the severe threat, but it's still a long ways out for any kind of details on that. We got a lot of rain and wet and stormy weather to get through first anyway. Let's see what else we got. Hot weather. Yep, some people like the hot weather. Some people beg for it, and then by the time we get there, the other half of the people, they will complain to me about how hot and humid it is. It is the air you can wear. You'll be feeling it all day long. But more seasonable temperatures from here on out. 80 degrees Thursday, Friday, upper 70s and low 80s from, for at least the extended forecast. I did not edit this ahead of time, so bear with me here as I open this up. This is the 8 to 14 day outlook I show on here just about every day. They did change this again, so ignore the text that's on there that says below and above normal. We're back in the above normal category by a fair amount by the time we hit June 12th to June 18th. So next Thursday, running through June 18th, and I don't know what day that is. It's probably the next Wednesday or so. So next Thursday to the Wednesday after that, June 12th to June 18th, we're back in the above normal department. And again, with temperatures low 80s, 81, 82 degrees, we're above that generally, more often than not, through days 8 through 14. Why not? Good way to start out Friday the 13th there of next week. Yes, just an early, you've been alerted first. The first alert for next week is that next Friday is a Friday the 13th, so you already know how it's going to be when one of those rolls around. Humid next week, another good question. So, hold that thought. I have a graphic for that. From here on out, I would not expect many more days like what we saw outside last weekend. The question was basically, are we going to be humid next week? So early next week, the humidity levels will drop off into Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's why we're going to be drier in the next week. But look back in the past here, what we saw last weekend, this past weekend. Oh, nope. Wrong button. It's amateur hour here in the Weather Center. Give me a second. Let this to load back up. This past weekend was, in my mind, ideal. All right. Some people don't like this when we get this time of the year where it's kind of cool and dry and crisp outside. I love it. It was just perfect last weekend, right? Look what happens here. The trend yesterday, that trend started to sweep up. These are dew point levels. Dew point is a level of moisture in the air, essentially a measurement of the moisture in the air. It has been climbing. We'll continue to peak out there Thursday and Friday, and that's going to fuel the rain and storm threat the next couple of days. There will be a lot of moisture to work with. We drop off briefly back into almost comfortable levels into Sunday morning. That's why I said Sunday is going to be our next nicest day. But it doesn't even get anywhere close to the bone dry air we saw outside, late this past weekend, early this week. It just will not be as nice. And it's going to progressively get worse as we work our way into summer, because what happens is, all the farmers have planted their crops out there. The crops are starting to grow, and the crops get a little bit bigger, starting off in July, right? Knee-high by the 4th of July when it comes to corn. I don't know if that's still a thing. I've heard that in the past. But sometimes it's taller than that. These crops will put off moisture. Like you and I sweat, or like on a day like today, you're sweating a lot, right? The crops will do the same. It's called evapotranspiration, if I want to put people to sleep here. And with that, that adds more moisture to the air. And so when you talk about the Corn Belt, the Midwest, when we start getting into July and August, it just gets miserable. Just a lot of humidity, and that has nothing to do with what's going on necessarily in the atmosphere or anything getting pulled in off the Gulf more often than not. It is just the crops around here make things just really sweaty. We call it the corn sweats, right? But all the crops will do it. Corn is a big one, especially once it gets a little bigger outside. That's why late at night or early in the morning you see kind of that misty haze. You're driving through the cornfields if you're in more of a rural location. Similar concept. They put off a lot of moisture, so don't expect things to get, it's going to get a little bit worse, I think, as we work our way through the rest of the summer rather than any better. Last weekend was just a gem. I really hope you got to get out and enjoy some of that. You'll get some breaks from time to time. Tuesday morning, I mean, that looks pretty good. I know the yellow air is kind of blending in, but yeah, I just think that humidity values from here on out are going to be on the up and up. Let's see. Sarah, do we think we could have a late fall? Feels like warmer weather slowly coming in. Yeah, this has been, one of those years. A lot of people complain. They have been complaining the last couple of weeks that, well, here's the first thing. People always complain that we never have a spring here. I've heard that for years. It just goes right from winter to summer the same week, sometimes the same day. Yeah, sometimes that happens. And then it never gets cool again. We've had a really nice spring. We've had a lot of cool downs. We've had a lot of stuff like last weekend where it's been really nice, and a lot of it's been timed out on the weekends, where you've had some nicer, drier, cooler weather. So it's been a slow, gradual uptick in temperatures, except for the last 2 days, which have been really warm, yesterday and what we're going to see outside today. When it comes to what's going to happen this fall, I'm not much of a seasonal forecaster. I don't like to go out too far. I mean, everything there is just kind of it becomes a really, a little bit of an educated guess, I guess is the nice way to put it. There are some things that can point to, some years an El Nino year, a La Nina year will have certain effects. Sometimes a different ocean oscillation will have different effects, but there are always outliers in those years, different weather. So I don't love to do that because I could say, okay, well, since it's going to be La Nada, which is going to be, in between El Nino, La Nina. There's what we call La Nada, where it's kind of a neutral year, and that's what we're getting into this summer. And in some cases, that might indicate that we're going to have a hotter summer or we're going to have a drier summer, but it only takes like one storm of, that rolls through in a week and dumps 10 inches of rain, and then it just ruins anything I said seasonally. So I'm not big on seasonal forecasts. The winter forecast, the extended forecast, hurricane forecast. It's not that they're not right. Sometimes you can get pretty close. But I don't like to give, a little bit of false hope on what you're going to expect through those seasonal forecasts. So when it comes to late fall, I can tell you what the normals will be. Usually things start to drop off pretty quick after we hit, late September, mid-October, somewhere in there. It's still pretty warm. A lot of people think, when fall starts around here, it's, going to drop off quick. Sometimes it does, just like this spring, though. Sometimes that summer could linger, and it could hang on for a little while longer. Fall could be a little later, or it could just come in the last week of August, and then we never warm up again. But I would say, based on the trends and what's happened the last couple of years, a lot of times it seems like we're still very warm even in November now. And that's just kind of been a trend we've seen the last couple of years, where we've seen some of those later warm days trying to hang around, despite those days getting shorter and shorter after we hit August. So, good question. Sorry, that was probably a terrible answer, but yeah, not big on the seasonal forecast personally. I'm sure Steve could get in here and rattle off a couple good facts for you later tonight. He'll be back in this evening with the evening shows. I'll be doing 3 and 4, and he'll be back on at 5 o'clock, and he'll have the streaming show later on at about 7-ish here in the streaming center. So that is all the questions I have for right now. Expecting storms next week. That was an old one. Rolling through, making sure I hit everybody. I think that answers most of the questions. Like I said, I'm fully expecting people to complain about how hot it is today, because everybody's been complaining about how cool it's been. Now we'll have the people complaining about how hot it's been. It's like a 50-50 split here in Cincinnati when it comes to people liking one bit of weather or the other. All I can say is just look at that. That pretty much tells you the story, what's going on today. A little bit of that is going to be the humidity, because those dew point levels, the humidity levels are rising. A lot of it is that kind of hazy moisture into the valley. And the other half of this is still some of that wildfire smoke that's aloft. It's trying to mix down just a little bit. Most of it's going to stay up top, but we still have a moderate air quality reading out there for today. So if you are extra sensitive to that, it might be why, if you've been the last couple of days, or you notice people the last week or so around you that are coughing a little bit more, or they might be sniffling a little bit more, ruling some of the allergies out, because it is allergy season. That might have a little something to do with it. If you might have, an extra itchy throat, it might be some of the that wildfire smoke that's still just hanging around the Ohio Valley. So some of the airport sites were even reporting that earlier. So that a little bit of haze. It's some of the moisture, but a lot of that, some of it too, the milky sky, especially aloft, is still some of that wildfire smoke. So the rain will help to wash some of that away. Obviously, rain also helps to wash some of the pollen, the other particulate matter out of the air, so that'll be a good thing. I know nobody loves to see rain roll in by the end of the week, but sometimes it does help, clean out the air just a little bit around here. That's why in the summertime you see so many air quality alerts. I mean, once you hit July, August, rain chances typically, outside of the spotty, once or twice a week situation, you can get really long stretches of dry, hot air, and that holds in some of the pollution, and you can get some lousy air quality. So this time of the year, June being the wettest time of the year, still not bad, especially when we start to clear things out just a bit. So that'll probably do it for me for the day-to-day. Have the 7-day up here for you. I'll put that up full screen. And just so that's not it, that is me up full screen. Let's try again. Boom. All right. So if you're going to be out and about, just be on the lookout tomorrow, Friday, early in the morning. Take the rain gear with you. Even if it's not raining when you head out the door, you'll probably run into some storms Thursday. That could slow down the evening drive. Some of those storms the next couple of days could be on the strong side. Damaging wind will be the primary threat, something to keep an eye on. If you have any other plans, festivals, Reds Fireworks Friday, anything else going on, I think Carroll County might have their fair this week. Don't cancel any plans to go to those things. Just be, have a plan to hop inside if you need to. Certainly if a storm's rolling through, don't hang out in the tent. That would not be a good spot to be because with gusty winds, lightning, obviously, you can put those things together, and why that would not be a good idea to stay under the tent. Saturday, the storm should push out for the most part pretty early. The rest of our day looks pretty good. And then this rest of the weekend looks pretty nice outside. A little cooler than what we're seeing outside today. We'll make a run at the 90s in a few spots this afternoon, but most should fall just shy of that. Nicer weekend, cooler temperatures from here on out. Get out there, enjoy it, or don't if you don't like the heat. Stay inside. Cooler temperatures are on the way, rain-cooled temperatures. So if you like that summer heat, though, you have one last dry day today to get out there and get the yard work in before the rain chances return. Enjoy your day, everybody. I'm meteorologist Brad Maushart.